Om. 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 Om Shri Gurubhyom Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Om Shri Matre Namaha. Priya Bandhulara. So far we have had about 64 Zoom sessions. Today is the 65th Zoom session. In today's Zoom session, the first question is, if someone wronged to us, then what should we do according to the Bhagavad Gita? My answer is, you have to take action in the normal course of law in the 4 routes in the order given below. Samam, Danam, Bhedam, and Dandopayam. The first one among them is Samam. You have to politely request the other party to undo the wrong done. Of course, you have to convincingly project your case as to why you say you are right and the other party is wrong. If rational logic prevails on the opposite party, the issue can be sorted out. Second, Dhanam. If the first line fails, you have to request the other party to somehow avoid rancor by arriving at a compromising solution without damage to you as wrong has been done to you. Third one, Vedam. If first and second lines of settlement do not bear fruits, you have to differ with the opposite party and indicate that you don't agree with the contentions of the opposite party and you will be taking the issue to the next higher levels of solution. Here you can seek the intervention of a third party, mediation, or arbitration. Fourth one, Dandam. If all the 3 lines of settlement do not bear fruits, you will have no alternative except resorting to the 4th line of action, namely Dandam. That is, you have to take to either police action or legal action, whichever is the softer of. If you have faith in the God Almighty, tell the problem to the God about the wrong done by the opposite party. Not that God does not know unless you tell. Generally, God does not interfere in the daily routine of anybody because God has given free will to everybody. But he would punish the wrongdoers as per his normal course of action. If you submit your prayer, God will give priority at your request, giving importance to your request. The party which has indulged in doing wrong will be punished by God without any doubt. This is 100% true. This is what our Ramayanam and Mahabharatam tell us as stark realities. Ravana thought that Lord Rama cannot cross the ocean and reach Lanka. Not only Lord Rama crossed the ocean with his army of monkeys, but killed the Ravana and claimed Sita Mata. Duryodhana thought that he was having a large and invincible army of stalwarts and refused to give even 5 villages to Pandavas to arrive at a peaceful settlement between the Pandavas and Kauravas. Pandavas not only won the war, but decimated the entire Kauravas clan. Always Dharmam would win, though it may take time. Have faith in God and Dharmam. So I leave it to you to do the way you feel is appropriate. Hari Om. Next question. If the Bhagavad Gita, gods and goddesses were real, why is it only followed in Hinduism and not the whole population of the world? Is the question asked by somebody. My answer is, there are some questions for which you can't give satisfactory answers. People are speaking so many languages in different parts of the world. Shall we say that they are not real because neither we speak nor we know about those languages? Different parts of the world have different climatic conditions. Shall we dispute them as to why they are not conforming to a single condition? People are being born with different facial features and complexions. Shall we say that they are not our race? These are all the differences that exist in nature. You have to accept the diversity in the nature and try to find unity in this diversity. This is what Bhagavad Gita preaches. Read it, understand it, and practice it for your benefit. The whole creation is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Learn it, get your ignorance removed. Because you don't understand Bhagavad Gita, don't venture to challenge Bhagavad Gita. If you don't understand the laws of nature, like Newton's laws of motion, laws do not cease to exist. Laws will remain sacrosanct. God and Bhagavad Gita are real. They don't cease to exist because you don't believe them. Lack of faith in God and Bhagavad Gita are symbols of deepest, I repeat, deepest ignorance. Try to first understand who you are. You will then understand who is God, where is God, whether God is real or not. All the best, my dear. Hari Om. If the Bhagavad Gita gods and goddesses were real, why is it only followed in Hinduism, not the whole population of the world? This was the question asked by somebody. I have given, I think, a befitting answer. Next question. Why is Kali Yuga able to manipulate Mahabharatam, not Bhagavad Gita? Is it only because Bhagavad Gita is the fifth Veda in the reality, not Mahabharata? My answer is Hari Om. Mahabharata is the fight between Pandavas, represented as good, and Kauravas, represented as bad. Mahabharata war was proved that the good only will ultimately triumph. Though the good group represented Pandavas was numerically smaller, the essence of this message of Mahabharata war was abbreviated in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita preaches us to remove the vices from the individual. He or she would then become virtuous. This is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Individual human being is an admixture of both virtues and vices. If we remove the vices from the human being, he or she would become divine. This is what Bhagavad Gita is preaching. So Mahabharata is being repeated in the individual lives. It is not being replaced by the Bhagavad Gita. To treat the path of virtue is difficult. Treating the path of vice is easy. So people take to the easy route. But they are not able to digest the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, that they have to pay this price for bad actions, a place called hell. Every human being struggles hard every day to make his or her life more comfortable and more pleasurable. If they succeed in their plans as originally planned, the fact that their plans are not always being successful shows that there is a divine force which is controlling the human actions and endeavors. If people realize this and convert their behavior towards more pious attitude and good virtuous behavior, shedding selfishness, then they will become more towards being divine than being devilish. If devilish qualities are destroyed, then only divine qualities would remain in humans. This world would then become a wonderful place to live for all. That is why everybody should read and understand the Bhagavad Gita to enhance the quality of life. This is for what God had taken birth on earth and tried to teach Bhagavad Gita to human beings, keeping Arjuna as instrumental. But people are not mending their behavioral dispositions. May wiser counsels prevail on everybody to follow only virtuous paths, only righteous paths, only legitimate paths to make life more meaningful and pleasurable. Hari Om. Next question. According to the Bhagavad Gita, a devotee should leave everything and serve Krishna. Does that mean a schoolgirl should also leave her school and studies and just concentrate on serving Krishna? My answer is, according to Bhagavad Gita, a devotee should leave everything and serve Krishna as being stated by you is a distortion of facts. If you quote the relevant sloka from where you have taken this statement, I shall give you an appropriate reply for the above mentioned statement. God has prescribed 4 routes in the Bhagavad Gita. They are Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga. In none of these 4 routes did God ever say that you or any devotee should leave the school or your duty or job and serve Krishna. God has prescribed 4 ashramams in the Bhagavad Gita: Brahmacharyam, Grihasthashramam, Vanaprastham, and Sannyasam. In none of these 4 ashrams did God say that you or any other devotee should leave the school or duty or job and serve Krishna. From where did you pick up from among 700 slokas of the Bhagavad Gita? If you tell me the source or sloka number, I shall give you a very comprehensive reply. People have spoiled the previous generations of the humanity by spreading all types of misinformation and distorted propaganda about the Bhagavad Gita, its contents, and its practices. God himself said in Sloka 7-16 that there are 4 types of devotees for him. They are Atto, a devotee in deep difficulties; Jijnasu, a devotee who is interested in knowing about where, how, what, and who is the God; Ardhardi, a devotee who is interested in wealth and property; and Ajnani, a devotee who is interested in knowing the full details of the God. Lord Sri Krishna or Pardhasarathi, if everybody is not aspiring to be a jnani, the 4th category devotee, as given in Sloka 7-16 of the Bhagavad Gita. God even classified all the above 4 categories of devotees as Sukrutas. They are all good people. So where did God say that you or any schoolgirl should only serve Krishna? Please bring to my knowledge the specific and full details of your question. I shall promise you to answer your question very comprehensively, dispelling your doubts. I request you not to spread misinformation or wrong information. This does not behove you and your families well. Please refrain from spreading misinformation on Bhagavad Gita. Hari Om. Next question. Is the Bhagavad Gita for one religion? My answer is, nowhere in the full text of the Bhagavad Gita there is any reference to any single religion, but there are references on and off about the humanity. So one can conclude that the Bhagavad Gita is meant for the whole humanity. When we say the whole humanity, it includes people of all ages, all sexes, of all regions, of all religions, of all countries, and of all the continents. So the Bhagavad Gita is the universal doctrine of all the times, of all the people. It is meant for the entire humanity to follow and practice at all times, at all the places, all over the globe. God intended the Bhagavad Gita to be practiced by the whole humanity in its entirety, irrespective of caste, creed, color, custom, conviction, country, continent, race, region, religion, sex, age, etc. It is acclaimed as the best gift given by God to the humanity. It is noteworthy to look at the opinions of some of the stalwarts of the world on the Bhagavad Gita, which are already narrated by me in June session 61, dated 8th March 2026. Hari Om. Next question is, what is Advaita Bhagavad Gita? My answer is, there is nothing like Advaita Bhagavad Gita. But the main theory propounded in the entire Bhagavad Gita pertains to the theory of Advaita. First, consider the meaning of Advaita. Dvaita means two. Advaita means that is not which is twofold. The one which is not twofold is Advaita, or there is only one. Or in other words, Advaita means only one. Bhagavad Gita proposes the theory of only one God, or the universal form of everything, the Atma or soul being present in the whole world, consisting of animate and inanimate objects in the whole of the universe. Lord Krishna said in every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita the same thing. Browse the link to know about the Advaita philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. Good day, Shivakesham's answer to what is the moral of Bhagavad Gita. Are you? Next question. What are some great Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Sanskrit inspirational lines to tattoo on my hand? My answer is, you can tattoo the following on the forearms of your hands. From Ramayana, Vaidehi. From Bhagavad Gita, Janardhana. From Mahabharata, Yudhishthira. The above suggestion is based on the following sloka. Punya sloko nalo raja, punya sloko Yudhishthiraha, punya sloka te Vaidehi, punya sloko Janardhanaha. This is to shorten the number of letters you have to tattoo on your hand. Otherwise, you can have another alternative words for tattooing. From Ramayana, Om Sri Rama. From Mahabharata, Ito Dharmas Tato Jayaha. Satyameva Jayate, Dharma Eva Jayate. From Bhagavad Gita, Om Tat Sat. You can choose anything of your choice from the above group of words. So many words are not required. Om alone will do. Om represents the Parabrahma Vachakam. You read Sloka 8-13 of the Bhagavad Gita and its meaning. It will be clear to you that Om represents everything. All the best. I am now reciting Sloka 8-13 for your information. Omityekaksharam Brahma Vyaharanma Manusparan Yaprayati Tejandeham Sayati Paramam Gatim. Meaning of the above Sloka 8-13 is, uttering the monosyllable Om, the Brahman, remembering me, that is God, always he, devotee, who departs thus, leaving the body, that is the human body, attains to the supreme goal, that is divinity, immortality, salvation, liberation, moksham. This is the meaning of the sloka 8-13. So if you are interested only in the final result without any sentiments for the scriptural text, you have Om tattooed on your right hand, forearm, with palm side facing you. God bless you. Hari Om. Next question. Who is a real saint according to the Bhagavad Gita? My answer is, significantly, the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita opens with a question by Arjuna asking, what is true sannyasa and true tyaga, that is renunciation? In reply to this important and crucial query, the Blessed Lord makes it clear to us that real sannyasa or renunciation lies in renunciation of selfish actions, and even more in the renunciation of the desire or greed for the fruits of any action. Very clearly, we are told that selfless and virtuous actions and actions conducive to the welfare of others should not be abandoned. You must engage yourself in performing such action, but renouncing attachment and greed. The true and proper renunciation is giving up of selfishness and attachment while performing one's legitimate duties. This is called sattvic tyaga. We neither hate unpleasant action, nor are we attached to pleasurable action. As it is not possible for you to renounce all actions, the renunciation of egoism, selfishness, and attachment in your activity is declared as true renunciation. Karma does not accumulate and bind one who is thus established in such inner renunciation. The divine injunction is that God must be made the sole object of one's life. This is the heart of the Gita Gospel. This is the central message in its teaching. This is the one way to your welfare here. Lord Krishna has told in the Bhagavad Gita in slokas 18-3, 18-4, and 18-5 very clearly as to who is a real saint or what is supposed to be real renunciation. Look at the following slokas 18-3, 18-4, and 18-5 of the Bhagavad Gita and their meaning, which are given as under. Sloka 18-3. Tyajyam dosha budityeke karma prahur manishinah yajnadana tapak karmana tyajyamiti chapare. Meaning of the above sloka is, some philosophers declare that all actions should be abandoned as an evil, while others declare that acts of gift, sacrifice, and austerity should not be relinquished. This is the meaning of Sloka 18-3. Next, Sloka 18-4. Nischayam srunumi tatra tyage bharta sattama tyago hi purusha vyabhra trividhasam prakirtitaha. This is Sloka 18-4. Meaning of the above Sloka is, hear from me the conclusion or the final truth about this abandonment, O best of the Bharatas. Abandonment, verily, O best of men, has been declared to be of three kinds. This is the meaning of Sloka 18-4. Now, next Sloka is 18-5. I am reciting. Yajnadana tapak karmana tyajyam karyameva tat yajnodanam tapasyaiva pavanani manishinam. This Sloka 18-5. Meaning of the above Sloka is, acts of sacrifice, gift, and austerity should not be abandoned, but should be performed. Sacrifice, gift, and also austerity are the purifiers of the wise. This is the meaning of Sloka 18-5. Commentary on this Sloka. God is of the firm opinion that the person who is doing the work with a feeling of total non-attachment and without expecting anything in return as fruits of his actions is the real saint, and such an attitude is the real renunciation. Read the Bhagavad Gita for more details. Hari Om. Next sloka is 18-6. Etanyapita karmani sangam tekva phalani cha kartavyani me partha nichitam matam uttamam. This is the sloka 18-6. Meaning of the above sloka is, but even these actions should be performed leaving aside attachment and the desire for rewards. O Arjuna, this is my certain and best conviction. This is the meaning of Sloka 18-6. This is a summary of the doctrine of Karma Yoga already enunciated before. The defect in karma is not in the action itself, but in attachment and expectation of a reward. Hari Om. Next question. According to Hindu texts, if everything is in our life is predetermined, said as fate written by Brahma, then why in Bhagavad Gita is it said to work hard for your goals and don't care for the result? My answer is, look at the Newton's first law of motion. A body continues to remain in its state of rest or of uniform motion until it is acted upon by an external force. This is the first law of motion. That is Newton's first law of motion. If you don't do anything, you will remain like a stone on the hillock. Just as Newton's laws are applicable to inanimate objects, if you leave your fate to Lord Brahma, fate will take its course. But do you want to leave everything to your fate and remain like a boulder on a Colorado? You can do that. That would be your choice. But man wants to improve his or her chances better than what is held in store as per fate. If you work hard, you can remove your negative balances and make them positive for a better future. You can improve your positive balances and go to higher levels of life in future. If you don't want any improvement in your status, you can remain as a boulder and Colorado. It is your choice. Hari Om. Next question. Which author has translated Bhagavad Gita in English in most unbiased and neutral manner? I want to read it. but without any bias of the writer? My answer is, which Bhagavad Gita should you read? Browse the following links for further details regarding your question. Good day, Shivakesham's answer 2. I want to read the Bhagavad Gita, but I am uncomfortable with complex verses and incomprehensible language. Which version would you suggest for me as a beginner? You are asking for Bhagavad Gita from beginner's point of view and also without the rigor of Sanskrit shlokas. I advise you to read Bhagavad Gita in English written by Sivananda Saraswati Swami, who attained God's grace and also which is close to your objectives. I strongly advise you not to read Bhagavad Gita written by the so-called Pandits and scholars, who have only most of the time commercial objectives and are not gifted by God to give you the correct message of Gita as originally intended in Bhagavad Gita. They try to show their scholarliness by exhibiting good command over language and try to give you as excellent details culled out from various sources to impress on us. This is like well-documented treatise and mango trees, their origin, varieties available, their distribution in different countries and climates, what all byproducts can be made, etc., blah, 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 blah. And ultimately, they will not show you the taste of mango. But only the jnani who obtained God's grace can lead you to the path of reality, which will immensely benefit you throughout in your life. And he will show you the real taste of Bhagavad Gita, which is like nectar. After tasting nectar, do you like to taste anything else? Definitely not. So I can assure you that once you make a beginning by reading the above Gita, you will yourself like to see the original Sanskrit shlokas also. The greatness of Gita is such that one would like to know more and more hidden details in Bhagavad Gita. So good luck and best sojourn with Bhagavad Gita. Hari Om. Next question is it written in Bhagavad Gita that we should worship gods, otherwise they won't help us or will not listen to our wishes or punish us? My answer is, it is not that God will punish us if we don't worship the God. But as the proverb goes, unless you ask, even mother will not give you the food. Unless you ask, even the God will not give you anything. So you must ask the God. Asking the God means worshipping the God. This is what is written in the Bhagavad Gita. If you don't ask, even God will not give you. That's all. But he will not punish you or punish us. Read Sloka 3-10 and 3-14 of the Bhagavad Gita. Clarifications on Sloka 3-10. The Sloka 3-10 reads as under. Sahayajna praja srishta purovacha prajapatihi anena prajavishyadva meshavo svishta kamadhu. This is Sloka 3-10. The meaning of the above Sloka is as follows. Having created the mankind, the Creator also simultaneously created yajnas and said, let this yajna like Kamadhenu fulfill all your material desires and also give you the liberation, salvation, moksham. This is the meaning of Sloka 3-10. This means the moment mankind was created, that very moment, the ways and means for the prosperity and freedom were also brought into the world. Thus, the Lord's mercy is infinite. God knew that the man would plunge into all kinds of actions and get himself or herself caught in the wheel of samsara and suffer pain and sorrow endlessly. So along with the man, the Creator introduced into the world several types of yajnas which would help mankind in their journey through life to final perfection. Yajna means an act of dedication to the God or service to humanity or meditation on God, the supreme reality. The yajna is set to yield all the good things that man needs in his journey through life. Man needs above everything else the removal of sorrow and the attainment of peace. They can be achieved by performing yajna, that is, worshipping the god. Therefore, the worshipping of God through the process of the performance of the yajna is compared to the wish-fulfilling kamadhenu of heaven. Not only the spiritual welfare of the mankind, but also their material prosperity is answered by the God through performance of the yajna. Now, clarification on Shloka 3-14. The Shloka 3-14 of the Bhagavad Gita reads as follows. Annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavah yajnat bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samudbhavah. This is Shloka 3-14. The meaning of the above Shloka is as follows. Because of the food beings are being born, that means the food that is eaten is being converted to blood, semen, which is later forming into an embryo after the male-female partnership, and humans are being born. Food is forming out of the clouds. That means clouds that are existing get converted into rain, which in turn gives rise to the food crop, that is food. The clouds are coming because of the yajna, and yajnas are happening because of the pious acts being performed by the humans. And the pious acts are being performed by the humans because of the Vedic knowledge imbibed by the humans. And these Vedas are given by the eternal, everlasting, all-pervading God Almighty, and that the God Almighty is therefore firmly entrenched in the yajnas is what is to be understood by the Shloka 3-14. So to get your desires fulfilled, perform yajna or worship the God. I hope now with this explanation your doubts get dispelled. Hari Om. Next question. Did you study Bhagavad Gita? What is your take on that? My answer is, not only I studied the Bhagavad Gita, but I know 2/3 of the Bhagavad Gita by heart. Myself and my wife attended 108 yajnas, where we recited the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita during the performance of each of the yajnas. Each yajna was conducted over a span of 3 days. We used to go in the morning at 7 o'clock and return late in the evening after 9 o'clock. You can imagine the extent of our involvement in the Bhagavad Gita. We read, reread, studied, practiced, wrote essays, gave discourses, finally wrote a 470 pages demi-sized Bhagavad Gita book containing slokas, simple meaning in prose form, and a unique commentary. We are blessed by the God when we attended 99 yajnas and were given the option for ourselves whether we would attend further yajnas or not. We attended in all 108 yajnas and stopped further attending. So that was our involvement in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita gives you a fully fulfilled life as a human being. It has to be experienced by oneself, but cannot be explained or described. Hari Om. Next question. Would it be a sincere effort if we read the Bhagavad Gita in Sanskrit without knowing its meaning? My answer is, unless you read the Sanskrit slokas, you will not enjoy its beauty. All Indian languages have some commonality with the Sanskrit. So you can keep a copy of the Bhagavad Gita in your mother tongue in front of you before you read the meaning and commentary. A small Bhagavad Gita in your mother tongue will be available from Ramakrishna Mission or Gorakhpur Gita Press or Higginbotham bookstalls in railway stations. If you can buy a small book giving meaning of the Bhagavad Gita slokas, it will be even more helpful. Read Shivananda Saraswati Swami Bhagavad Gita in English or Vidya Prakashanandagiri Swami's Gita Makarandam in English. If you know Telugu, you read the Bhagavad Gita written by me and my wife and available from me. I have given elsewhere how to get a copy of my book. It will make matters very clear. Not reading the Bhagavad Gita is a great loss in life, however educated you may be. It is said that Sarva Shastramayi Gita, that is, Bhagavad Gita is the best among Shastras. Sarva Tejomayi Ravi, sun is the most brilliant among the bright objects. Sarva Tirthamayi Ganga. Ganga is the most pious Tirtham amongst Tirthams. Sarva Vedamayo Hari. Hari is the most prominent god among all the Vedas. So simple reading of the Bhagavad Gita slokas would fetch you the best of its benefits. Understanding of the Bhagavad Gita is even better. Practice of the Bhagavad Gita is the best way to score maximum marks in your spiritual practices. Hari Om. Next question. Did Krishna really display his soul to Arjuna? As in chapter 11, Krishna shows only his infinite form. Does it mean that Krishna himself is soul? Therefore, he could able to display his forms only, not soul? My answer is, your question lacks clarity. However, Lord Krishna had shown his cosmic form in chapter 11 of the Bhagavad Gita. We are all individuals and are represented by the individual souls. However, we are all a part of the cosmic soul represented by the God as a cosmic soul. Lord Krishna had shown to Arjuna his cosmic form in chapter 11 of the Bhagavad Gita. I hope this is what you wanted to know. Next question. In the Bhagavad Gita 7-9, how can Krishna say that people need to take refuge in him? Does this not show a lot of arrogance? My answer is, there is no mention of any surrendering to the Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita sloka 7-9. Even if it is there in other slokas at some other places, as the Lord Krishna asked his devotees to surrender unto him, it only suggests his pure love to his devotees, does not represent any arrogance. God does not possess arrogance like human. He is nirgun. God is free from the prakritic dharmas normally possessed by individual human beings. In elementary education programs, the teacher teaches the value of pi, that is equal to 22/7. The teacher asks the students to accept the value of pi as equal to 22/7. This is told out of love and affection to the students, not out of arrogance. Because even if the teacher wanted to tell the truth about the value of pi, the students would not be able to understand the concepts. I understood the concept of pi only in the engineering after we learned the integral calculus. Till that time, it is not possible to understand the concept of the pi. Similarly, the devotees of Lord Krishna, when they can't perform the rigorous training programs and procedures prescribed for knowing the God in real terms, Lord Krishna, as God Almighty, is asking his devotees to surrender unto him, just as the teachers in elementary classes ask the students to assume the value of pi as equal to 22/7 without proof. It is not out of arrogance, but it is out of love and affection for the devotees. If you are a devotee of the God, you will understand this. Otherwise, you cannot understand this. Then leave it. Hari Om. Next question, which is the smallest sloka in Bhagavad Gita? My answer is, the smallest slokas in Bhagavad Gita are having 32 letters in each sloka. They constitute the majority of the Bhagavad Gita slokas. Rest of the slokas are bigger and have more letters. Browse to the following link for more details on the slokas of the Bhagavad Gita. Vajra Shivakesham's answers to the total number of verses in the Bhagavad Gita is 700, but the chapter verses are different in chapter 1 and chapter 13. It is 47 plus 34 in one and 46 plus 35 in the other. The rest of the chapters have the same number of verses. So which one is correct and why? Hari Om. Next question, why do Hindus know so little about Hinduism? My answer is, Hindus believe in practice rather than precept. Hindus are very pious people. They are not interested in promoting or propagating of any religion. They accept any human being as an entity. They live and let live others also. They are not fanatic either. They just believe in pious living. They believe that an ounce of practice is worth a ton of precept. They are more practical, knowledge people than theoreticians. Proof of the pudding lies in its eating. Writing about the art of cooking is different from the actual art of cooking. A real cook doesn't need the help of books. When I was working as the chairman of the wet canteen, supplying food for an office employing more than 1,000 people, I had a cook working with me in the canteen. He can cook food for one person or 3,000 people. He can give you the particulars of the ration required also offhand. He doesn't need any paper or pen. That is his knowledge in cooking. If you ask him about the qualification, he doesn't have even a 10th class certificate. Once, when Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister, opposition leaders led by Mr. V.P. Singh called for a Bharat Bandh. Rajiv Gandhi ordered all the central government employees to be kept in the office itself for 2 days and feed them so that the Bharat Bandh would fail. We were feeding 3,000 employees in the office itself for 2 days. Morning tea, coffee, breakfast, lunch, evening tea, coffee, and night dinner. During the lunch time, one day during the last batch, about 200 to 300 people were taking their lunch. Suddenly, some assistant came and told me that sambar was not there. I immediately ran to the cook and told him how to tide over the situation. The cook made sambar to the diners in less than 10 minutes and supplied without anybody knowing that the sambar got exhausted. He is a real cook. Does he need any degrees? Hindus are like the cook in our canteen. They don't know how to give a lecture or write an essay about the Hinduism, but they all practice the principles of Hinduism like our cook in the canteen. For giving discourses on Hinduism, there are sadhus, sants, sannyasis, matadhipatis, pitadhipatis, ganadhipatis. They have devoted their lives for the God and for the religion. There are erudite scholars in India in Sanskrit even today in this computer age. Every day about 65,000 to 75,000 devotees are going and having the darshan of Lord Sri Venkateswara in Tirumala throughout the year on all the 365 days. This is called practicing the Hinduism. Every year lakhs of pilgrims go to Amarnath, Kedarnath, Badrinath, Manas Sarovaram and many other places of godly abodes like Dvadash Jyotirlingas and Ashtadash Shaktipeethas. All Hindus take a holy dip in rivers like the Ganges, Sindhu, Kaveri, Godavari, Krishna and many other sacred rivers during Pushkaras and the Kumbh Mela. This is called practicing the Hinduism. Indians have been made poor people because of their dharmic moorings. They find it difficult to even account their living. But the days are not far off when they, that is Indians, will emerge as the most strongest and the richest nation among the committee of nations of the world. Hari Om. Next question. If Itihasa, including Purana, are said to be the fifth Veda, then why is there no verse in Gita where it is said among scriptures, I am Bhagavatam, Ramayana, or Mahabharata? Is it only because of Rajasic, Tamasic, or Sattvic scriptures theory, or some other? My answer is Bhagavad Gita is occurring within the Mahabharata, from 25th Adhyaya to 42nd Adhyaya of Mahabharata. In fact, Bhagavad Gita is like the lighthouse of the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata itself, it is said as follows: Gita Sugita Kartavya Chamanyai Shastra Vistarai Yaswayam Padmanabhasya Mukha Padma Vinishruta. This is Mahabharatam Bhishma Param 4-31 sloka. In the Gita Mahatmyam given in Varaha Puranam, it is also said as follows: गीताश्रयोऽहं तिष्ठामि गीतामि चोत्तमं गृहं गीताज्ञानमुपाश्रित्य त्रीन् लोकान् पालयाम्यहम्. In the Treta Yugam, Vasishtha Maharshi preached Yoga Vasishtha to Lord Rama in Ramayana, just as Lord Krishna preached the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna in Mahabharata. At that time itself, sage Vasishtha Maharshi predicted that during Mahabharata war, Lord Krishna would be preaching the gospel Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. The reference to this is contained in Nirvana Prakaranam, titled as Arjunopakhyanam. The same sloka 2-20 of the Bhagavad Gita as it is was taught by Vasishtha Maharshi in Yoga Vasishtha to Lord Sri Rama. Thus I have quoted from Mahabharata, Ramayana, Varaha Puranam, etc. So the questioner's contentions are untenable and are also baseless and without any of the scriptural knowledge from among the Hindu scriptures. This only shows the lack of knowledge of the questioner. Hari Om. Next question. Should we study Bhagavad Gita in school? My answer is, we are asking a question as to should we study Bhagavad Gita in school? Browse through the following link for further information about your question. Should Government of India include the Bhagavad Gita in a school curriculum in India? You are asking a question as to should Government of India introduce Bhagavad Gita in school curriculum in India? In childhood, whatever we learn gets etched in our brains, making them as indelible impression. To be frank, we can't understand the deeper or inner meanings of some lessons like Panchatantram, Hitopadesham, Niti Chandrika, etc. However, they are remembered and cherished for lifetime. In fact, it is only in later adulthood that we understand the true meaning, the value, and the importance of those lessons. Therefore, it is very essential to introduce Bhagavad Gita in school curriculum in India, as it will go a long way in thickening the moral fiber of India, which in turn would make India as an unrivaled leader in all walks of moral values. This will pave the way for the whole Western countries to take to and read Bhagavad Gita in their schools, colleges, and universities, and do even PhDs in many areas of the Bhagavad Gita text. So, introducing Bhagavad Gita in school curriculum is a good moment to turn the Indian economy and even world economy. Hari Om. Next question. How do we get the conceptual understanding of the Bhagavad Gita without any spiritual guru? My answer is, we read the commentaries of Bhagavad Gita written by enlightened souls. Enlightened category of people would give you the guidelines on the correct understanding of the Bhagavad Gita. They will not add any masala in the commentaries to attract readers or to increase readability. But most of the enlightened souls had written the commentaries in their own mother tongues. The only souls who have been enlightened authors of the Bhagavad Gita known to me are the following. Sadguru Maharshi Malayala Swami, Sri Vidya Prakashananda Swami, Adi Shankaracharya, Madhusudana Saraswati, Shivananda Saraswati Swami. Among the above, only Shivananda Saraswati Swami wrote Bhagavad Gita in English language. So you can read it from the conceptual understanding, as you say. But the Bhagavad Gita is better understood under the guidance of a Sadguru. Hari Om. Next question. Is it equally beneficial to read the English purport of Bhagavad Gita verses as it is to read the Sanskrit verses? Most times it is easier to read the purport. My answer is how would you explain the greatness of Bharatavarsha, Hinduism, ancient Veda, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, etc. to atheists and West-loving youth? My answer is, I have no interest in forcing anybody to make him or her learn anything. If someone wants anything, I shall be prepared to help them and give guidelines. I also advise you not to try to hold others' mantle. If you have any personal doubt about the Bhagavad Gita, I am prepared to answer. Bhagavad Gita is for seekers of truth, not for debate or deliberation. As a learned person in the Bhagavad Gita, I want to clear genuine doubts of practitioners, questions of ignorance, misguided and wrong notions about the Bhagavad Gita. But I have no intention to engage in educating atheists. I repeat, atheists. Next question. Have you read the Bhagavad Gita? If yes, how was your experience? I tried to read 2 to 3 times, but couldn't understand. My answer is yes. I had read and I am reading now and then. I have perfectly understood, and myself and my wife had also written a unique commentary on the Bhagavad Gita entitled Srimad Bhagavad Gita Mukti Sopanamo Tatparya Sahita Vyakyanamo by Dr. Uddhe Shivakesava. You can browse the following links for knowing more details. Display the titled book. You can approach a guru who can teach you, or else you can buy a good Bhagavad Gita by Shivananda Saraswati Swami or Sri Vidya Prakashananda Giri Swami and read it. Simply reading the slokas you will not understand. You must read the commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita written by enlightened souls or by the God-blessed people. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is the quintessence of all the 18 Puranas, 4 Vedas, 9 Vyakaranas, and the Mahabharata, consisting of 1 lakh slokas. Naturally, the slokas are loaded with lots of meaning which you can't understand yourself. Self-reading of the Bhagavad Gita gives you the understanding of what it contains, but details have to be learned from the gurus. I repeat, learned gurus. Very good. Next question. What should we say before and after reading Bhagavad Gita in a general assembly where a lot of people of religion are there in the assembly? My answer is, there are different norms prescribed at different places of regions according to different practices. This will be generally told by the Guru who is conducting the congregation. Follow the instructions of the Guruji. Hari Om. Next question. Some people have read the Bhagavad Gita many times but are still not convinced. Why is that? My answer is, it is because of lack of understanding of the contents of the Bhagavad Gita or because of the lack of sincerity in understanding the contents of the Bhagavad Gita. If the cook is cooking the preparations in unclean vessels, all the puddings would be spoiled and they will become inedible for eating. Similarly, if there is no sincerity in getting good copy of the Bhagavad Gita written by enlightened souls, it is very difficult to understand the Bhagavad Gita, and moreover, it may lead to misunderstanding than real understanding. My wife read it and understood the contents of the Bhagavad Gita in a month's time. We read Gita Makarandam written by Sri Vidya Prakashananda Giri Swami. She insisted that I must read the Bhagavad Gita. I told her, my wife, that I won't have time to read because I had to get up at morning 6 o'clock to go to office and will be free only after 11 in the night. She insisted and said, I don't know how you find time, but you must read the Bhagavad Gita. My wife never asserted on me like that before. She did not leave me until I said, yes, I would read the Bhagavad Gita. I had to make a promise to my wife to read the Bhagavad Gita. To keep up my promise to my wife, I used to get up at early morning at 4 o'clock, and then I used to read the Bhagavad Gita in God's room up to 6 o'clock. It was only after I started reading the Bhagavad Gita I understood why my wife insisted on my reading the Bhagavad Gita. I used to very reluctantly close the Bhagavad Gita at 6 o'clock to make my preparation to go to my office. After I had completed reading the Bhagavad Gita, I deeply regretted for not having read the Bhagavad Gita until then. It was a pleasure and a treasure for us. In the later part of our life, Bhagavad Gita became our darling. Unexpectedly, I also got very soon some 100 slokas of the Bhagavad Gita by heart. All this was possible on account of our sincerity to the Bhagavad Gita. So I would say that anybody whoever approaches the Bhagavad Gita with sincerity, they will understand and appreciate it in no time. If sincerity in reading the Bhagavad Gita and understanding its content is not forthcoming, you can't ram it across their throats. That is my personal opinion. No intention to hurt anyone's feeling deliberately. Bhagavad Gita contains everything you need from the scriptures because it is the distilled product of 4 Vedas, 18 Puranas, 9 Vyakaranas, and the 1 lakh slokas of Mahabharata. All the scriptural knowledge is embedded in just 700 slokas of the Bhagavad Gita. Hence, you cannot understand the Bhagavad Gita unless you are very sincere in your approach. Also, the guidance of a spiritual guru is essential to know the complete details of the Bhagavad Gita. It is not like Hanuman Chalisa, Lalita Sahasranamam Stotram or Vishnu Sahasranam Stotram or other Stotrams. Just as not everyone can qualify in IITs, All India Institute of Medical Science, etc., not everyone can study and understand the Bhagavad Gita. So read a good Bhagavad Gita written by enlightened soul. I had written about the good books and enlightened authors' names while writing answers to some other questions. Please look into those details and read a good Bhagavad Gita. Secondly, take the help of a good spiritual guru who can guide you through in understanding of the Bhagavad Gita. I may tell you at this juncture, a young man who was aspiring for a career approached me. I guided him through the Bhagavad Gita. And believe me, he took my advice and he strictly followed, and he became successful in the Indian engineering services, and he secured All India rank number 2 in 2025. This is the latest. But he had full faith in me and Bhagavad Gita. In fact, at sometimes he complained that his parents are objecting. I advised him suitably. Parents had got a right to object to this because they lack the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and they think that my child may go astray, may become useless. So I told him how to conduct himself before the parents. So with all this, he succeeded, and recently he sent a photograph of himself along with his batchmates while he was meeting the President of India, Madam Murmu. So you will be convinced about the contents of the Bhagavad Gita only if you correctly understand its content. This is possible by following advice from a learned person. Hari Om. Next question. Can you discuss and explain quotes from the Bhagavad Gita? My answer is, I did this number of times. You can refer to my old answers. Hari Om. Vajde Shivakesham's answer to what are some of the most prominent quotes from Bhagavad Gita. That is the title. You can Google it and find the answer. Next question. Which sloka or verse from the Bhagavad Gita or Mahabharata do you find to be the best? Why? My answer is, Bhagavad Gita is full of good slokas. All are solid grains. There is no chaff in the Bhagavad Gita. From my point of view, I may like something, but from your point of view, you may like something else. The beauty is that both of us will be correct. Not that I am correct and you are wrong. So choose any one of the following routes. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Dhyana Yoga. In every yoga, you have enough slokas to practice. So choose any one route and ask me. I will suggest you a good sloka. Tell me your interest and intention to make my suggestion. Okay? Harivu. Next question. Was Krishna lying when he said, I incarnate myself whenever there is a decline of dharma? My answer is, not at all. Why he should tell a lie? So far he had taken a number of times incarnations, and every time he has performed the most important and impossible task which humans could not do. What is your doubt about the God's incarnation? God has very clearly told in slokas 4-7 and 4-8 of the Bhagavad Gita the secret of his incarnation in every yuga as under. God said, though I, that is God, unborn and of imperishable nature, and though I am the Lord of all beings, yet ruling over my own nature, I am born by my own Maya. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata apyuttanamadharmasya tatatmanam srujamyam. This is sloka 4-7. Meaning of the above sloka is, whenever there is a decline of righteousness, O Arjuna, and rise of unrighteousness, then I manifest myself. This is the meaning of sloka 4-7. Commentary on this sloka: that which elevates a man and helps him to reach the goal of life and attain knowledge is dharma, that is righteousness. And that which drags him into worldliness is unrighteousness. That which helps a man to attain liberation is dharma. That which makes him irreligious is adharma or unrighteousness. Sloka 4-8 is as under. Paritranaya sadhunam vinachaya cha dushkrutam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. This is sloka 4-8. Meaning of the above sloka is, for the protection of the good, for the destruction of the wicked, and for the establishment of righteousness, I am born in every age or era. This is the meaning of sloka 4-8. That is what Lord Sri Krishna told in the Bhagavad Gita. If you have no belief or faith in God's words and the Bhagavad Gita, nobody can help you. Are you? Next question. Is the Bhagavad Gita really written by God? My answer is, Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Lord God to Arjuna during Dwapara Yuga. Later, it was structured into suitable verses following the poetic grammar of Sanskrit and composed by the sage Vedavyasa. Sage Vedavyasa wrote the epic Mahabharata into 1,00,000 slokas. However, the essence of Mahabharata is further condensed and briefly preached to Arjuna by Lord Sri Krishna in about 700 slokas. So the Bhagavad Gita was written by the sage Vedavyasa. Later, where it was preached during Kurukshetra war time by Lord Sri Krishna to Arjuna as God, during his incarnation in Dwapara Yuga and at the time of Mahabharata war. Hari Om. Next question. Why do we read Bhagavad Gita when someone is about to die? My answer is, God told in the Bhagavad Gita that the person with which last contemplation he or she dies, the next birth is based on that last contemplation of the individual just before death. That is given in Sloka 8-6. Accordingly, God told in the Bhagavad Gita that a person who dies contemplating on the God will attain the God's abode without doubt. That is given in Sloka 8-7. Here are the excerpts from the Bhagavad Gita on Slokas 8-6 and 8-7, given as under. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tame vaiti kaunte sada tadbhava bhavitaha. This is Shloka 8-6. Meaning of the above Shloka is, whosoever at the end leaves the body, thinking of any being, to that being only does he go, O son of Kunti, Arjuna, because of his constant thought of that being. This is the meaning of Shloka 8-6. Commentary on the above. The most prominent thought of one's life occupies the mind at the time of death. That thought, determines the nature of the body to be attained by the departed soul in the next birth. तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु मामनुस्मरयुध्य च मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिर्मामे वैश्यस्य संशयः. This is Shloka 8-7. Meaning of the above Shloka is, therefore at all times remember me, that is God, only, and fight in the case of Arjuna and any action engaged in by others. With mind and intellect fixed or absorbed in me, thou shalt doubtless come to me alone. Means you would attain divinity or moksham. That is the meaning of Shloka 8-7. That is why God told that everyone should endeavor to keep reciting his name all through one's life, so that unintentionally the God's name will come to one's mind without any effort. If you do not do that effort throughout your life, you will not be able to suddenly remember the God's name all of a sudden during the last moments of your life. That is why people around the dear being departed will try to read the Bhagavad Gita into his or her ears, so that he or she would get a chance to remember the God's name before his Lord breathes. Hari Om. Next question, what will be the changes I can feel in myself after reading the Bhagavad Gita? My answer is, before reading the Bhagavad Gita, I was a devout Hindu. But after reading the Bhagavad Gita, I have become hopelessly secular. I respect all religions and cultures of all the people. I have become more tolerant, even to the extent of forgiving even the people who might have done greatest harm to me personally, financially, and even religiously. I have become a pure vegetarian, a teetotaler, non-smoking, a person of indisputable integrity, a non-biased, or person of non-partisan nature, and even the Pithadipatis and Mathadipatis of sannyasa ashrams call me a sannyasi in white clothes. I am observing the principles of sannyasi life by being in grahastham. Even the last rites of me will be carried as per sannyasi sampradayam, even though I am living as a grahastha. I did the same thing to my wife. In spite of being invited to the sannyasa ashrams of Pithadipatis and Mathadipatis, myself and my wife remained as grahasthas to show to this world that you can get God's grace even by being the grahasthas, and it is not necessary to take to sannyasam. What is important is your devotion and dedication to the service of the God and to your duties as an individual, to your family, office, work, business, society, and the world at large. I start the day with God. I fill the day with God. And I end the day with God. I believe in one caste, one religion, and one God. There are some of the changes I had inculcated in the life after reading the Bhagavad Gita. Hari Om. Next question. How many Gitas are there in Hinduism? I think I will stop it here because it is more than an hour since I started. So I will pray God and stop it here for today. Om Yadaksharapadabhrishtam matra hinam ched bhavet tatsarvam kshamyatam deva paramesha namostute Harihi Om Tat Sat.
It seems we came to the end of the question, sir.
Huh?
It seems we are coming to the end of the questions.
No, I didn't
Questions.
get you.
No, questions చివరికి వచ్చినట్టున్నాము. I mean, we are at the end of the questions.
Yeah. I think we say there are a lot of people, believers, non-believers,
Yes. Yes.
what they called people belonging to Hinduism, people belonging to
Yes.
other faiths. And
Yes.
these are questions from the globe, from
Correct.
all
Correct.
other
From the globe.
countries. So,
Correct. Correct.
some people, they may not know about
Yes.
our Hinduism and all that. So, they've got liberty to ask any types of questions.
Correct.
But, hmm, so, I don't mind answering as long as they are reasonable. Isn't it?
I agree. I agree. Yeah, yeah. Correct. Correct. Correct.
So, what else?
We came to Kumbakonam, sir. Tamil Nadu, Kumbakonam.
Oh, you are in Kumbakonam now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very good.
So
What is
tomorrow
the
morning
specialty
we,
of Kumbakonam?
I mean, all it's called a temple town. They have at
Hmm.
least 40 plus temples must see. Shiva temple, Vishnu temples, and Garuda Bhagavan temple, and the Navagrahas temple. Yeah, each Navagraha has a temple of its own here. Yeah, yeah. Yesterday we went to Yamadharmaraja temple, and today morning we went to Surya Bhagavan temple, and I did sadhana and mantra japan there. Yeah, yeah. And we visiting couple of temples in the evening. Tomorrow we are returning back to Bangalore.
We would have also done the same thing, but for God's grace. My wife and myself, we used to have Char Dham Yatra,
Yeah, yeah,
Kashi,
yeah.
all those.
Yes, yes.
They were on the agenda, but
Correct,
God
correct,
was
correct.
kind enough. So, and in fact, we stopped everything. I
Oh,
don't
okay,
even
okay.
go to a temple now. To
Correct,
tell you
correct.
the truth, only once in a year I go to Tirupati to
Correct,
see the
correct,
Lord
correct.
there, but
Correct,
otherwise
correct.
they are not required.
Yes, yes.
Be with Him. That's all. Keep chanting His name. So Venkatratnam Bhatta,
All good, sir. All good. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah, yeah.
Hari Om.